What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman. With the Infinity Saga now clear behind us, culminating with the release of Spider-Man Far From Home, and on the eve of the Phase 4 announcements, surely the earliest part to come next week with San Diego Comic-Con, followed by the rest of it at D23 the following month, we got to thinking about all the heroes and villains we're going to see in Phase 4 that haven't quite made their debut in the MCU yet. Now, with movies like The Eternals, a bunch of unknowns will find their way into the MCU for the first time, but there's some better-known heroes and villains, characters Marvel Studios specifically chose to serve up in the earliest parts of Phases 1 and 2, and then for whatever reason, take them nowhere except for one. There's one standout, one character they introduced in the earliest parts of Phase 1, and then kept around for the entirety of the Infinity Saga, and I think that's for a very specific and important reason. General Thaddeus E. Thunderbolt Ross, also known as the Red Hulk, just not yet in that form in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's more than just his involvement in key scenes, which we're going to break down all of them, and or the rumors of a Thunderbolts movie in Phase 4, but rather what his storyline was in the comics and how easily that translates into a very important storyline they're going to need in Phase 4. We're going to break all that down and why the Red Hulk makes the most sense to see an appearance out of all of the characters that we might get. But first, if you could, grab the subscribe button. We're giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, as well as a whole slew of other Marvel related stuff. All you have to do, hit the subscribe button, then hit the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on this video, and if you want, stick around to the end of the video. I'll get into all the giveaway stuff again there. So with 5 weeks standing between us and the 2 announcements that should flesh out the entirety of the Phase 4 slate, we know we're going to get movies like The Eternals and Black Widow, which are set to come out next year. And for both of those, even though it would be a little early for film, as I've said in other videos, hopefully we'll at least get to see some in-depth concept art and maybe have them outline maybe the villain and some other plot points like they did for Captain Marvel. But when it comes to these outliers, some movies that have only been rumors up to now, like Nova and or the Thunderbolts, there's no telling exactly what Marvel's going to choose to do, and in that, it made no sense to start randomly guessing at all the characters that we want to see the most. Yeah, I really want the Fantastic Four and the X-Men to enter Phase 4, but if they're going to wait till Phase 5, then there's other characters to choose from. Plus, you have to think about all the ancillary heroes that have a chance of making it in now that storylines like Shang-Chi or the original Mandarin have found their way back onto the immediate agenda for the MCU, making the most logical those which characters Marvel Studios has already prioritized. And one above all during Phase 4 of all the side characters got more face time, more screen time, more scenes, and even more lines than some of the Avengers themselves, and that's Thunderbolt Ross, or the Red Hulk. And it's not just that he had more lines, but it's what's in those lines, the arc that they presented for him when cross-referenced back with his original storyline from the comics. You could change one small detail, and we're going to do that here today in this video, that would give him an absolute purpose and reason to show up in Phase 4, a good one at that, give him a role to fill that would also mirror and parallel what he did in the comics, not just hunting the Hulk, but as I said, adding some characters to that quote-unquote need hunting from his perspective, but we'll get to that. Now, to be fair, a lot of people, including myself, thought that the constant and continual involvement of Thunderbolt Ross in all of these Avengers movies throughout the first couple of phases was to show that he was going to be a Skrull. We couldn't figure out another reason. We all knew that he was and could be Red Hulk, but it seemed illogical that Marvel Studios would go for this play, considering what they were doing with the characters at the time. But by that very same logic, if they kept him around for all these movies and not to reveal that he was a Skrull, we can now rule that out given the end of Spider-Man Far From Home. Yeah, I know that might be a slight logical fallacy, but I think if that was his purpose, they would have revealed it by now, specifically including him in Tony's funeral in every scene, even scenes like Infinity War, where he had more lines than an Avenger like Falcon. Yeah, go ahead and add up the words, they're definitely there. And he said things like, "The world is on fire and you think all is forgiven. The world is on fire and you think all is forgiven." This isn't only a slight Easter egg and nod to the Red Hulk's heated mission, he has heat ores as he gets stronger, but also to this theme of authority and control that the Red Hulk, or rather Thunderbolt Ross, has displayed during the entirety of his presence during the phases. That's why he butts heads with Robert Downey Jr. so much. That's why he's there for the Sokovia Accords. That's why he wants Captain America arrested during Infinity War, even though they've just been invaded by aliens. It's pretty much the only reason he's present in any scene, especially throughout the end of the first 3 phases. But definitely not for one, and the most important one at that, and that's his cameo during Tony Stark's funeral. Now, like I said, without the release of Spider-Man Far From Home and the reveal in the post-credit scenes that Maria Hill and Nick Fury were actually Skrulls, a lot of us might have thought that Thunderbolt Ross was there for just that, the holdings onto of the Skrull Easter egg to set up Avengers 5 Secret Invasion. We now know that's not the case, and they've set that up in a different way, which must mean his involvement, his continual and constant involvement, must be to introduce him as Red Hulk, and there's a really good reason to do just that. In the comics, he's continually hunting the Hulk, he's obsessed with it, but you don't have to change too much to mirror what he's already done in the MCU. He was obsessed with trying to hunt Captain America and the rest of the Secret Avengers as war criminals, but rather he's more obsessed with controlling powers that are outside of his control. It's definitely an ego thing, and in search of that power, in a need to control that power, is probably how he will find himself in the position of becoming the Red Hulk. But this wouldn't be for no reason at all. Actually, the reason is twofold. One, we all know that Mark Ruffalo has just 1 or 2 movies left on this contract, even though he's set to renew and may not, and you don't need 2 Hulks running around the MCU. With this, the end of his arc, you may introduce the Red Hulk as his last antagonist as he leaves the MCU, and then have a Hulk, it's just the red one in his stead, as he's not there anymore. But there's actually a better fit and a more immediate call for his character, the Red Hulk, in the MCU, with the storylines that are already going on, and it's actually pretty easy to enumerate. The way that they left off Spider-Man Far From Home, with J. Jonah Jameson somehow saying that Mysterio was going to go down in history as the best superhero alive, means that the Avengers name might get sullied a bit. We already know that that's going to happen for Spider-Man. You look at characters like Wanda Maximoff, you look at characters like, of course, Old Man Cap doesn't count now, but Falcon. There's some issue with whether the US government will even count Captain America's passing Falcon the Shield as the official Captain America mantle, or whether they're going to hire one of their own. That would be right out of the comics. There seems to be setting up a storm here where the Avengers, or maybe even superheroes in general, are not revered or considered respected the way that they should be, and rather hunted. And you don't need him hunting the Hulk, but only the outstanding war criminals from pre-Infinity War, around the times of Civil War, to have him have an immediate purpose and call. Also, shows like Falcon and the Winter Soldier and/or WandaVision, depending on what themes they choose to go with, would be perfect places for him to do said hunting and press that storyline into trying to account for how the US government regulates and/or, well, rather doesn't regulate their superhero force. I think it's clear that this point of contention is definitely coming, and it's going to be interesting to see if the Red Hulk is going to play his normal role, considering they seem to have set him up for it. One other last thing we'll touch on quickly is the rumor of this Thunderbolts movie and the involvement of Red Hulk in the team. I've said this in the past, and I'm going to stand by it now. There are still too many members of the team that we know as the Thunderbolts, the different version from the one that Baron Zemo started, outstanding for them to involve this team yet in the MCU. They'd have to introduce a ton of characters first, but I wouldn't rule it out down the road. I also love the idea of Agent Venom and Deadpool somehow coming together in this squad. But guys, there's been a ton of iterations of this team, and Red Hulk could complicate things enough. I don't think you need this team around him. They've kept Thunderbolt Ross around for a very long time. The Red Hulk is something that I think everybody would love to see. It would be fan service a la what they already gave us in Avengers Endgame, and quite honestly, I'm surprised they didn't find a way to work him into that. Everybody would have loved it just as much. Either way, with the exponentiality with which the MCU is set to grow now, with the involvement of TV shows and the perhaps absence of a certain Hulk going forward, when and if Universal doesn't want to play ball and/or Mark Ruffalo chooses not to carry the Hulk mantle anymore, there'll be a need for a big guy in the MCU, and the Red Hulk would be an awesome addition at that. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments about his involvement all this time. Does there have to be a reason? And if he's not a Skrull, does that mean they're going to do Red Hulk? Can you see what I mean about them needing to find a reason for him, but having a perfect one already, and him hunting what's left over of the quote-unquote secret Avengers? And quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. All right, we're giving away 2 PlayStation 4 Pros, the next of which is at the 500,000 subscriber mark. We're also giving away another PlayStation 4 Pro over on my Spotify account, Allfires. It's free and easy to enter that one. All you got to do is jump through a couple more hoops. Go ahead ahead and hit the link down in the description in the comments below. If you have a Spotify account, great. If you don't, it's free to make one. All you need is an email. Follow my Spotify account, Allfires, stream the song, screenshot that, then send the screenshot to everythingalwaysYT@gmail.com. We're closing in on the end of that giveaway. It'll boost your odds of winning a PlayStation 4 Pro, as far fewer people will do this than sub at the channel. But if you want to win the PlayStation here at the channel or any of the other prizes we announce throughout the summer or the rest of the year, all the same rules apply. Hit the sub button, then hit the notification bell. Make sure to like and comment on the video. And the more videos you like and comment on, the better chance you have of winning. My name's Michael Roman. This is Everything Always. Guys, thanks for checking out the channel and stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.